No, Mum, I said before I wasn't hungry. I'll be fine. I've had a packet of crisps. Oh, Mum, just leave it, will you? I just need to be on my own.
Sure, there is meant to be someone here I'm helping. I mean, after bringing down the Saviour down to earth and him coming back to life and fire eating, helping a small girl will be a fly in the park to help. Oh gosh, look at all those messages coming through. Are all those thoughts in one girl's head? Right. Maybe not so easy. This looks very complex. Oh, very complex indeed.
Hey!
Hey. Wait, what? Ah!
Ah!
Ah! What are you screaming for? I'm the one with a floating angel in my bedroom.
Where? Oh, me. Ah.
Maybe I do need to get something to
No.
eat.
Well, yes, you probably should listen to your mother, but I am really here.
Why?
Right, to the point. I like it. I am your guardian angel, Gabriel. Yes, I am the one who brought Jesus to earth.
Yeah, well, I haven't got much time to hear a story now, have I? I'm a bit too big for that. Anyway, I've got bigger things to worry about. Moving to a new school, then hearing stories about sheep and stars or whatever you're going to tell me.
Jesus is so much more than that, and we can help you.
I highly doubt that.
The Bible certainly can. Whatever you are going through, someone would have been through it and come out the other end in the Bible, you know.
So you reckon that in this Bible thing, there is actual stories about people moving on? People going to a new place on their own, not knowing anybody.
Yes. I mean, the Bible's pretty much got...
I'm moving new schools. This is nothing to do with what happened hundreds of years ago.
The Bible has got all of that in. But yes, I do see your point. You need some help and advice from people around now. I'm going to call the descendants of the A-Team. Tash, Beck and Chris, I think their names are.
Fine. Go on. Whatever.
Well, listen to this story. It's the story of Ruth. I think it can really help with all of your worries about change and moving on and transitions. It can't be any worse than the rubbish you're reading online anyway.
Hi, Gabriel. So, children, our story for today begins with a woman called Naomi who was living in another country far away with a husband and her 2 sons. Later, Naomi's husband died, and so did her 2 sons, leaving Naomi on her own with her sons' wives, who were called Orpah and Ruth. I'm going back home, Naomi said to her daughters-in-law one day. I've heard things are so much better now. There's plenty of things to eat. So I'm going back to Bethlehem, back to where I belong. But you two, you should stay here because, well, this is your country, not mine. Note the expectations that Naomi put on Orpah and Ruth. She expected them to hug her and kiss her and to wave goodbye. And that's exactly what Orpah did. But what Ruth did was slightly different. Well, Ruth did hug her and kiss her, but Ruth did not wave goodbye. Instead, Ruth said, I'm coming with you. But Naomi said, why? Ruth, you've been so good to me and to my family. But why leave your loved ones? Why go to another country, to a place and a people you don't know? If you stay here, you've got a better chance of getting another husband. If you come with me, well, I can't give you one. But no matter what Naomi said, Ruth would not change her mind. She went against all expectations. You need to remember that journeys can be tough, especially back then when there were no cars and no phones. So they would be on their own. And Ruth cared for Naomi. She wanted to make sure that she was safe and well. And that's why she said, I'm coming with you. And that's all there is to it. From now on, your people will be my people, and your God will be my God. Naomi could see that Ruth had made up her mind to go with her, so they went together. I wonder what that journey was like. I wonder what expectations they had, because this would be a new start for both of them. For Naomi, well, some of it would be the same. She knew some of the people, she knew the place, but she hadn't been there for years, so some of it would be different. For Ruth, well, things would be totally different. It was totally new all round. Ruth would not know anyone. So Naomi and Ruth arrived in Bethlehem at the time of the harvest. And the women in the town looked at them and said, "Is that Naomi?" Because they hadn't seen her for such a long time. We're going to pause the story there. We'll carry it on in just a moment. But think about the expectations that Naomi and Ruth had. Expectations about the journey, who they would be with, and what it might be like when they actually got there. I know that moving can be a bit scary. For some of you, it will mean a new class in September, a new teacher. But for others, it will mean a completely new school, a bigger building, and new teachers all round. And you'll have expectations, things that you have seen and heard, rumours, stories. You might have heard about homework, the size of the new school, about getting lost, about making new friends. We're going to think about expectations now. We're going to use some science. Hello children, I've come into church so that we can have some fun with 3 experiments. These experiments are all about our expectations. First one is about what do we expect to hear? And I've got a little black box. You might notice that there is a speaker on the top and there is a switch on the side. And if I turn the switch on, it sounds like this. Oh, that isn't the nicest sound, is it? But what did you notice about the sound? Let's just listen to it one more time. There we go. Did you notice that the sound stays the same? It's not changing, but it's just this one note that we can hear. But you might have noticed that my little black box is actually attached to this rope. So if I spin this box round, will the sound stay the same? Or will it change? What's your expectation? Well, let's give it a go. Here we go. So hopefully you can hear that the sound is changing. And it changes depending on whether this box, the source of the sound, is coming towards you or it's moving away from you. When it comes towards you, the sound actually gets squashed together, and so it seems to be higher. When this box is moving away from you, the sound is able to spread out, and so it actually seems to sound lower. So the sound is higher or lower, depending on whether it's coming towards you or away from you. doesn't actually seem to stay the same. Let's listen to that one more time. There we go. And scientists call that the Doppler effect. Weird. Children, our next experiment is also about expectations. What do we expect to hear? And we're going to use one of these. And hopefully you all know that a slinky is like a big giant spring. I can bounce it up and down. It makes a little bit of noise, but it's not really that interesting to listen to. I can also flick it with my finger like this. But again, it's not actually that exciting to listen to, is it? So what would happen if we attach the end of the slinky to a bucket? What do you expect to hear? Well, let's find out. So now we've attached the slinky to the bottom of the bucket just using some sellotape. This time, when we flick the spring, the sound will be quite different. But what do you expect to hear? So we'll listen to the sound once again, this time attached to the bucket. Wow! That is amazing! Just by flicking the spring with my finger, and you hear that noise, it sounds a little bit like something out of Star Wars, which is just absolutely amazing. And all I'm doing is just flicking the spring with my finger. So if you've got a slinky at home, sellotape it to a bucket, and you can play it Star Wars. I bet you didn't expect that. My last experiment is all about what you expect to see. And for this, I'm going to use a model of a flying dinosaur. It is a pteranodon. Well done if you got that name right. This model has been made so that just one part of it should be able to balance on my finger. But which bit? So have a think. Which bit do you expect to see balanced on my finger? Would it be the feet? Will it be the body? Or will it be some other part? What are your expectations? Well, let's try the feet. I'll try putting my finger here. No, it's certainly not the feet. What about the body? Well, let's try that. No, again, it's not the body. But let's try the beak up here. Let's try and balance that on my finger. And yes, it actually works. I can actually balance this model of a flying dinosaur on the tip of my finger. So out of those 3 experiments, I wonder which one was your favourite. I love the slinky and the bucket. It just sounds awesome and really cool. But were your expectations right each time? Sometimes it's hard to know what to expect, and sometimes things are much better than we first thought. So as we think about our expectations and what's ahead of us, here's a rhyme that you can all join in with. And it goes like this. We're going on a journey down a long and bumpy road, not sure what to expect other than what we've been told. We'll come back to that rhyme, but for now, over to Bex.
We're going on a journey down a long and bumpy road, not sure what to expect other than what we've been told. We're going on a journey down a long and bumpy road. There are things that scare and worry me. My mind has overflowed. Now we've just heard the first part of Ruth's story from Chris, all about Ruth setting out on this journey, looking at the expectations that she had and also our expectations for when we move classes or schools, all the things we might hear about and might see from others about what school can be like. Some of these can make us feel a little anxious and worried, particularly when making new friends or finding new friends in a place which is unfamiliar to us, or when starting a new class with a new teacher and the changes that will happen. Well, the next part of our story can help us to understand and look at the different feelings that we might have when we think about moving schools or moving into a new class, and some of the changes that will happen. We'll hear next all about Ruth going into the unknown, into the live in this unfamiliar and new place, where she receives unexpectedly to her kindness from someone and makes some new friends among lots of changes. So let's hear the next part of our story of Ruth. Now there was a rich man living in Bethlehem whose name was Boaz. Boaz was one of Naomi's close relatives. One day Ruth said to Naomi, "Let me go to the fields. Maybe someone will be kind and let me gather the grain he leaves in his fields." Naomi said, "Go, my daughter." Ruth wants to find a job, but this was difficult as she came from a different place. So Ruth went to the fields and followed the workers she saw who were cutting the grain, and she gathered the grain that they had left. Now, it just so happened that the field belonged to Boaz, the close relative of Naomi's. Boaz cared for his workers very much. Then Boaz spoke to his servant who was in charge of the workers. He asked, "Whose girl is that?" The servant answered, "She is the Moabite woman who came with Naomi. She said, 'Please let me follow the workers and gather the grain that they leave on the ground.'" Boaz had heard all of that Ruth had done for Naomi. He admired her courage and bravery, especially coming from a different place into another place which was unknown and unfamiliar to her. Then Boaz said to Ruth, "Listen, my daughter, stay here in my field to gather grain for yourself. Do not go to any other person's field. Watch to see which fields they go to and follow them. I and my workers will take care of you and keep you safe." Then Ruth said to Boaz, "But I am a stranger. Why have you been so kind to notice me?" Boaz answered her, "I know about all the help you have given to Naomi. You helped her even after your husband died. You left your father and mother and your own country." Then Ruth said, "You are very kind to me. You've said kind words to me. You have given me hope." The next day, Boaz told his workers that they should leave a little bit more barley behind on purpose. Now Ruth would have more to take home with her. Ruth was delighted, and when she told Naomi what had happened, and when she showed Naomi all that she had found, Naomi asked her who the field belonged to. Ruth replied, saying, "A man named Boaz." Naomi was overjoyed. Boaz was one of her relatives. She knew that he would take care of them and that God was caring for them both too. Wow, did you enjoy this part of the story? There's a lot we heard and a lot to learn from this part of the story for Ruth in the next part of her journey. Let's look at it together. They arrived in an unfamiliar place and they had to restart all over again. Does this sound familiar? Well, Ruth wants to find her way and make some friends. She was very brave. Now, do you remember starting school or a new class for the first time? How did you feel? How do you think they both felt when they arrived in Bethlehem in this unfamiliar place?
You might like to pause the video here and have a discussion at school or at home. How did you feel starting school? How did you feel moving into a new class? How do you feel about moving school or class in September? You might like to take it in turns and act out your different feelings.
Then Ruth went to a field and picked up the grain that had fallen to the ground. The owner of the field asked his workers, "Who is this woman?" The workers explained that she was with Naomi. Boaz saw that Ruth was a good worker who cared for Naomi. Boaz was kind to Ruth and invited her to follow them as they would take care of her. Now, how do you think Ruth felt when Boaz and his workers said they would take care of her? How would you feel if someone said they would take care of you at school? You might want to pause it again and have a discussion at school. On this journey for Ruth and Naomi, we've looked at and thought about all of their different feelings. In an unfamiliar place, finding a way of supporting one another, lots of changes, and making new friends. Ruth faced all of these worries and fears, and she was able to make some new friends. With God by her side, and with the kindness of Boaz, knowing exactly what she had been through, and what she was going through, she was brave and faced all of her fears, changes and challenges along this journey. Now, when we move classes or schools, we might feel similar to Ruth. We might be worried, anxious, excited, scared. We all have different feelings, and it's okay. But we're all going through the same thing. We're all going through changes, and just like Boaz, he knew what Ruth was going through and offered kindness to her and helped Ruth through this. Now we can do the same for one another. We can help each other when we're going on this journey together through school. Now, as we have looked at Ruth in this part of our story, all about changes, fears and worries, and those who help us, we have a craft activity for you to take part in at school or at home together. Now, all you will need is 2 pieces of paper, pens, pencils, colouring pens, scissors and some glue. So you might like to pause the video here while you go and get all of those things that you need for our craft activity together. So first you'll need your piece of paper and you're going to fold it in half like this. Once you've done this, you're going to put your hand on the piece of paper with your thumb and your finger touching the crease where you folded, just like this. And then you're going to draw around your hands. If you need some help, you can ask one of your teachers or somebody at home to help you. So then once you've done this, you're going to cut it out, just like this. You're going to cut along here, just to the edge. And you're not going to cut around the thumb or around the finger, you're just going to cut this middle piece out here. So just cut along the edge and along that edge too. And then pop that bit out. Then I'm going to cut around like this. So remember not to cut around the thumb or around this part of the finger, just go straight down this bit here. and you'll see why in a second. So once you've done this, you should now be able to open it up, and you'll see that they're attached together just like this. Now when things changed, just like in our story for Ruth, she went to an unfamiliar place and lots changed. It's okay to feel worried, nervous, scared, excited and happy. Whatever you are feeling, it is okay. So what are you feeling about moving school or into a new year? What changes might there be that you're feeling maybe a bit nervous about or are looking forward to even? You might like to write all of these down on one side of your hands. Then on the other hand, like we heard in our story, Ruth was brave and made some new friends who were kind and helped her and knew what she was going through. Who helps you or who has helped you in your time at school? Who has helped you to grow and be brave? If you want to, you can thank God for them and write this on the other hand. So you just need to put this to one side and you'll need your other piece of paper. With our other piece of paper, we're going to make something ready for our time of prayer together later. You're going to make your very own origami heart to place in the middle of your hands. You're going to keep hold of this as you'll need it later on. So the first step in making your origami heart, you need a piece of paper. I'm going to take one corner and fold it so it makes a triangle shape like this. And then you've just got this piece here and you can cut that piece off. And fold it out and you should have a square. So in the next step you can see there's one fold here like this. Now you're going to take this corner and fold it over to this side. And when you open it out, you should see a cross shape with the folds. So now you're going to turn it round to a diamond shape. I'm going to take the top piece here and fold it to the middle crease here. Just like this. Then you're going to take the bottom corner and fold it all the way to the top. Just like this. And now this is the tricky bit. So you're going to take this here and fold it to the middle, just like this. And the same on the other side, just fold it in like this, bring them both to the middle. Then you're going to turn it over just like this. I'm going to bring this little piece here to that bottom bit there and just see there, and the same again on the other side, and then the same on the corners. Just fold them in a little bit like a little triangle shape, and on the other side. And then when you turn it over, there you have your very own origami heart. So you can do this for our little prayer later on, or you can just cut out the shape of a heart. But if you'd like to give this a go, then you can.
To help tell the last part of our story of Ruth, we need your help at home or at school. We need some volunteers who are happy to stand up and do some acting and be able to read the words on the screen. So we need somebody to play the narrator, somebody to play Ruth, somebody to play Boaz, and also one last person to play Naomi. Now, don't worry if you have got lots of budding actors in your class, because there are also lots for everybody to get involved in. So we've got the characters talking and it will indicate when you talk, but when you see something in red, which could be an action or something to say, that is for the whole class to get involved in. So the black font is for those 4 characters and the red is for the rest of the class. You may need to pause the video on each screen to make sure you've got enough time to be able to act out everything that you can see. And there are 3 pages of script. Have fun. I wish I could hear them. Wow, well that was some amazing acting. If you haven't already, give your classmates a massive round of applause. Woohoo! And of course, the rest of the class all joining in was perfect too. So, what have we just learned from that section and the final part of our story? Ruth and Naomi had travelled a long way from the house and the home that they were used to, in the hope of starting a new, fresh life. But they brought with them all of their things with them. They brought all of their belongings, but they also brought all of their past experiences and fears and emotions along on the journey with them. And once they arrived in their new land, one of the most important things for Ruth to do was to find herself a husband. Now that might be more important during Ruth's time than it would be now for us to find ourselves a husband. And I'm not suggesting that you guys at home need to all rush out and find a husband. But during those times, Ruth needed somebody to be able to look after her, somebody to love her, a friend, a best friend, somebody who would be with her for the rest of her life. And that was the first thing that Ruth needed to do. But did you notice what Ruth did? Or should I say, did you notice what Ruth didn't do? She didn't think, right, well, I'm in a new land, I'm in a new place, I must change my ways, revamp my style, change the way I behave to try and find this husband, to try and make new friends. Ruth didn't do any of that. What Ruth did was she stayed loyal and courageous and just stayed her lovely self. And that also proved to Ruth how much Boaz actually liked her. She didn't change to fit in. She didn't try and impress him. She just stayed as Ruth. She didn't know how to be anybody else. And Boaz fell in love with that person. Why am I telling you all this? Well, although it's a gorgeous romantic love story, it can still apply to you guys thinking about moving on and transitioning. Now, when you transition into a new class, or into a new school or into a new club, that doesn't mean that you have to change. That doesn't mean that you completely change your personality to try and fit in with whoever is in the room or whoever is in that classroom. It means that you do what Ruth and Naomi did. You take with you what you have learned and you get excited about what's coming next. But you're staying true to who you are, staying true to your beliefs, staying true to your morals. And then you'll be able to find new friends who, guess what, really like the real you. You don't have to pretend. You will be accepted into a new friendship group because of who you are. So transitioning doesn't mean leaving everything behind. It means taking what you've learnt and moving forward with it. I invite you now to pause the video for 2 discussions in your classrooms. The first one is to think about what things you'd like to take with you on your transition into your next class. What are the skills? What are the people? What are the things that you have learned or the behaviours that you have that you'd like to take forward into your next chapter?
And the second thing is, what are you most looking forward to that might be different? So I'll pop those questions on the screen. You just need to pause the video and either have individual group discussions or a full class or a full household discussion about those transition questions. And now, back to our poor girl who is worried so much about a new school. Let's see if the story helped.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
It did make a lot of sense.
I did tell you so.
Yes, it was helpful as well. I guess I just thought the Bible was just a bunch of stories about stuff that happened ages ago and it had nothing to do with me.
Well, hopefully now you can see it does.
I think Ruth was amazing. And Naomi too. They were really brave, going on into a new journey, into a new life and not knowing what was going to happen. They had God, didn't they?
So have you.
But I've never been to church.
That doesn't
Is God
matter.
still there for me?
Of course he's still there for you. He's there for everyone.
Even though my problems seem really small?
No problem too big
Yeah.
or too small.
That's pretty cool, I guess.
You could try praying.
Yeah. Think I might just try that. Praying. Talking to God when I'm feeling a little bit scared, a little bit worried.
And talk to your mum.
And talk to my mum. Yeah, that's true. My mum. Got some good friends.
You could talk to me.
I will do. Thanks. See you around. Mum, what's for tea? I'm starving.
So Ruth and Naomi had a new start. They moved on to a new place. Some things would be different, but some things would stay with them. So, of course, they'd keep their experience, memories of the good times, and they remained friends. And God was still with them. Remember that as you move on, whether it's to a new class or, in fact, if you're moving on to a new school, remember that God is with you too. We've got a Bible verse for you, which will help you to remember that God goes with you. It comes from Deuteronomy chapter 31. The words are on the screen. Let's read it out twice together, and the third time, some of the words will disappear. See if you can fill in the blanks. So Deuteronomy chapter 31 and verse 8. We say together, "The Lord himself will go before you. He will be with you. He will not leave you or forget you. Don't be afraid. Don't worry. The Lord himself will go before you. He will be with you. He will not leave you or forget you. Don't be afraid. Don't worry." And now see if you can fill in those blanks. The Lord himself, he will be, he will not, or forget. Don't be, don't. Well done if you managed to fill in all of those blanks. I'm now going to lead us in a prayer. Let's pray. Loving God, thank you for the story of Naomi and Ruth. Thank you that you were with them on their journey. Help me to remember that you are with me too, and I do not need to be afraid or discouraged. Amen.
Now, we all go through change, just like Ruth did on her journey. We face changes every day, and some of these changes can be challenging and worry us. But in our story today, a message to us is that no matter what we go through, God is with us by our side. We have faced lots of challenges this past year. We face lots of challenges every single day. But we have overcome all of these changes and challenges. It may not have been easy for so many of us, but we did it, and this is a huge achievement. And throughout all of this, God has been with us and helped us to overcome all of these changes, fears, and worries. Ruth and Naomi trusted in God and knew of God's love for them and what they had been through, and helped them on their journey. Now God can do the same for us too. Now for our prayer, I have some sign language actions for you of a memory verse in the Bible. Now our memory verse is Joshua 1:9. Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid, for I am with you wherever you go. Now the actions to this are: be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid, for I am with you wherever you go. Should we do this together? Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid, for I am with you wherever you go. Now you can write this memory verse on your heart and glue this to the middle of your changing hands to remind you of all the things you have wrote down. In the middle of all this is God's promise and our memory verse for today. Now, as I say this prayer, you might like to hold up your changing hands with your heart in the middle together. Dear God, thank you for the year we've had at school. Thank you for all the memories we have made and all we have overcome. Thank you for our teachers and our staff who have helped us and kept us safe. Soon it'll be time to say goodbye for some and time to move on up for others. Help us be brave, just like Ruth when she arrived in that unfamiliar place, with many different feelings. Help us as we go on our journey to be brave and know that God is with us wherever we go. Be with us all over the summer holidays and keep us safe. Help all who begin a new class or at a new school in September. Help them to be strong and courageous, and with God they can face anything. Amen. Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid, for I am with you wherever you go. Amen.
And we are going to close our transition video with a final prayer. We thank you, God, for acceptance. We thank you that you accept us no matter what, and that you are loving and supportive and caring, and we thank you for guiding us along every journey. We don't always know what is to come, but we know that we can always look forward with you guiding our way. And we're going to finish our prayer by saying some scripture together from Jeremiah chapter 29, verse 11, and the words will be on the screen for you. Thank you so much for joining us on our transition video. We hope it's been useful. God bless, have a wonderful summer, and we'll see you soon. Stick around for a worship song just before you go. Bye-bye.
I'm going on a journey down a narrow and bumpy road. I'm going on a journey so that I can learn and grow, reaching far and wide, and adventure I will find that it's so great having Jesus by my side. I'll be stretched so tall, I might wobble but I won't fall, in circles up and down around the bend. Step by step, not much longer, for I know I'm getting stronger, and it's so great having Jesus as my friend. I'm going on a journey and I'm heading outbound. I'm going on a journey over new and shaky ground. Not on sinking sand, but on solid rock I'll stand, and it's so great having Jesus hold my hand. I will be stretched so tall, I might wobble but I won't fall, in circles up and down around the bend. Step by step, not much longer, for I know I'm getting stronger, and it's so great having Jesus as my friend. To discover and explore, I'm going on a journey cause it's fun to see some more. Such an awesome sight when I reach the highest height, and it's so great having Jesus in my life. I'll be stretched so tall, I might wobble but I won't fall, in circles up and down around the bend. Step by step, not much longer, for I know I'm getting stronger, and it's so great having Jesus as my friend. Clap your hands now. You're doing a great job. Keep going. Sing along with me now. Are you ready? I'm going on a journey. I'm going on a journey. I'm going on a journey. Yeah! I'm going on a journey. I'm going on a journey. I'm going on a journey. Take it away, yourself. Give me the best. Yeah! Journey down a narrow and bumpy road. I'm going on a journey so that I can learn and grow, reaching far and wide, and adventure I will find, and it's so great having Jesus by my side. I'll be stretched so tall, I might wobble but I won't fall, in circles up and down around the bend. Step by step, not much longer, for I know I'm getting stronger, and it's so great having Jesus as my friend. I'll be stretched so tall, I might wobble but I won't fall, in circles up and down around the bend. Step by step, not much longer, for I know I'm getting stronger, and it's so great having Jesus as my friend. Step by step, not much longer, for I know I'm getting stronger, and it's so great having Jesus as my friend. Step by step, not much longer, for I know I'm getting stronger, and it's so great having Jesus as my friend. Yeah!